Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap session for Friday, December the 15th, 2017. My name is Doug McKay. I'm the founder of Quantum Leap Futures. Each morning we get together in these live go-to sessions to take a look at the market macro to micro, take a look at the structure of the market, and then we drill down to our trade levels, our targets, and our hypotheses. We do create multiple hypotheses. These are our trade plans for the day. We create two main hypotheses, two alternative hypotheses for expansion. We do this not because we're trying to hedge our bet, where we do not know what the market's going to do, so we create four plans based on normal auction logic. Then we wait for the market to open up, show us who's in control, and then execute the plan that best suits that environment. Please read through the disclaimer. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and the trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade plan, and your own risk metrics. So taking a look at yesterday we had a melt-off, went down. It was, actually hypo 4 that played out. We failed to take out that overnight high and the all-time high and the naked VPOC in that 74 and 75.50 area. It looked like they were going to break the IB to the high side with this quadruple top up here at 71 and a quarter, but they created a brick wall, and what looked like was going to be a break of the IB failed and rotated all the way down, broke below the prior day, rotated back inside, failed at the mid and the VWAP, and then started drifting down as we were talking about, and came down to where our daily ATR was, and our targets. Our main target below was that 59.75. Our extended target was down here in the gap close, and the daily ATR target down at the 53.75. We missed it by a couple ticks. The VPOC shifted down on the close. They stole the VPOC into the close. We were expecting further push down. The next big target below was 50.75. Overnight low got down to 51.75. That is now our low of the week and low of the Globex. So taking a look at the news for the day, we've got New York Empire State Manufacturing that came out at 8:30. It came out at 18, expected 18.6. Canadian manufacturing sales came out. It was a big miss. In 23 minutes, we have capacity utilization and industrial production and manufacturing production. And then there really isn't much more news left today, except for the rig count at 1 o'clock. So most of our news is done for the day. Next week starts the typical time frame for the Santa Claus rally, so it's going to be an interesting day. We had some pretty good range yesterday, bigger than what was anticipated, definitely. Did not think we would have a huge range, and that's why it was hypo 4. But that's why we have our two alternative hypos for that range expansion and the possibility of a trend day. Taking a look at the macro to micro, again, I always start my day taking a look at a simple candlestick chart using a 9 EMA and a 20 SMA. I use my Toss Paper Money because I like their drawing tools for looking for chart patterns and measured moves. We've been following this upward slope on the pitchfork. We've been in the upper channel for most of the year. We broke into it on January, and since then we've been trading up. Good slope, good separation. Trend is very strong on the monthly. Don't even get to even come down and challenge the trend until we're in the low 2500s. On the weekly, Excuse me. You can see that our week low was put in last night at 51.75. Our week high is the all-time high. Got good slope, good separation. The trend is very much intact. We don't even challenge the trend on the weekly until we get down into the 2606 area. Our low of the month right now is 2605. Not likely going to see any move back this week. And our week open is the 2655. Our critical mass to the upside is 74.75. So just off of the all-time high for critical mass. So if we do get above critical mass, we're making new all-time highs, and who knows how high they can go. Our daily ATR upside target is 71.25. Our weekly ATR target is up at 2687.75. Going to the daily, we did anticipate a move back down to test the 9 EMA and close this little technical gap, and we bounced right off of the 9 EMA so far, and almost taken all of yesterday back. Good slope, good separation. Trend is very much intact on the daily. On the on the intraday, going to the 4-hour, you can see we put in on the close, we put in a FUBAR Mr. Sneaky technical gap on the 4-hour. They rotated up, closed the technical gap with the move to the 9, broke above the 9, and are challenging the trend. There's a naked cross up here on the 4-hour. We don't usually look at those in terms of day trading or intraday trading, but it is a target that is very close, 67.75. So put it on your in your journal as a target. Going to the 1-hour. You see we have broken above the 9 EMA and the 20 SMA, taking this downside trend back. Again, another example of a FUBAR Mr. Sneaky technical gap, closed the gap, and then got continuation up. Going to the 30-minute, you see that we had again on the 30-minute FUBAR Mr. Sneaky technical gap, close the technical gap, get continuation. Now we've got slope and separation to the upside, start of the trend back up. Going to the 15-minute, you can see we had a little head and shoulder. I drew this last night. I did do some trading last night. And again, we had a FUBAR Mr. Sneaky technical gap, close the technical gap, get the trend going, go sideways consolidation, get the continuation, and moving back up. So, and then just finally the 5-minute, you can see that we have come back and challenged the 20, but bounced them back above the 9 and the 20. So every time frame that we're looking at right now is showing this trend, and just. I think we're already started our Santa Claus rally. You want to pay attention to this 2663. If we get below it, then we're getting a short time frame trend challenge, and we could get a bigger rotation back. So taking a look at what that looks like in the big structure, and this we created this balance here. We it broke out of the value area above that 50.75 and came up, and we've created 3 days of balance up here, trying to hold value at 71. Then yesterday they came back down. They didn't quite get to the 50.75, but they got close to it overnight. Rejected value, and now they've rotated back up, and we're right near the mid of the. This is a engulfing, bearish engulfing, but again, we were looking for the pullback for those late buyers to step in to start the Santa Claus rally, which typically starts next week and goes into Christmas. So they looks like they've made their move. The buyers have stepped in, but we have to watch this 63 area. You see that the 4-day value area low is at just below there at 62. So if we break below that, then we're likely to get another move down to break the 51.25. 51.75 low overnight, and probably come down back inside of this this area. We still have this gap open down here in the 44s. So take a look at the overnight inventory. Overnight inventory is about 70% net long. Some very, very strong kurtosis around that 59, and we talked about that 59. That 59 was the microcomposite VPOC here, not microcomposite, sorry, it was the daily VPOC here, and we were looking for them for the possibility of coming back. It was also the 50% retracement of the significant breakout candle, and we came back and dipped a little bit lower, but so far moving up. So they've come back up and accepted that 59.75 and got continuation. We have an overnight high up here at 65.25 so far. So 65.25. Inside of this area up here between this LVN here at 64.50. This is going to be a trade area for us. I'm actually going to move it slightly down to the 63 area because of the microcomposite value area high, and because of the fact that that would a break below there would challenge the upward trend on the 5-minute. Our overnight VPOC is at 59.75. This is not likely to shift. So 59.75. And very strong kurtosis. We've got a triple distribution with the LVN at that 61.75 and at the 58. So the 58 has to be a trade area as well. In fact, the 58 is going to be our over underline. And then our overnight low is all the way down at 51.75. And there's really no more information that we can get from that. I want to open this up a little bit so I can look at this. So in terms of trade levels to the upside, the value area high, it's not really a valid value area because we were in a trend mode yesterday, but it was the IB high, and it's near this LVN at the 68. So I'm going to put a trade level there because above there we've got the FOMC return to the scene of the crime at 69.25. Our 20-period daily full session average true range is running at 1963. So off of the low overnight of 51.75, our upside daily ATR is running at 71.25. And obviously that'll be a trade area. A break above the 71.25 puts us into a possible trend mode to the upside. And we've got the naked VPOC at 74, the all-time high. And then our weekly critical mass, our week open is at 26.55. So we have one session left this week. If we get above the all-time high and get above the weekly critical mass at 75.75, there's less likelihood that this market will rotate down below the open of the week at 55, and we'll end up with yet another weekly high, a higher close, and a positive week. And that'll be what? I think that'll be 6 weeks in a row now. Hold on a second. Weekly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row of a move up. To the upside, there's not much more above us that we can talk about. The weekly ATR is up at the 2687.75. Our weekly 20 period full session ATR is running at 3611. So off of the week low, which just happens to be our overnight low, would off of 51.75. Our weekly upside target is 87.75. Now that is an awfully big day, and it is unlikely that we were going to hit the 87.75 because of the fact that that would give us a basically a 36-point range for a full session. But it's not unheard of. We could go into trend mode. So really pay attention to the critical mass if we get up there, because then we're into all new all-time highs, and we could continue a trend day up and basically get what they call railroad tracks, where we dip down and then take it all back and then some the very next day. To the downside, of course, we've got the 56 area down here. Our close for the day yesterday was 56 and a quarter, and then the naked VPOC that was stolen into the close at the 56, and then we have the week open, and if they get down here, they're likely going to go for the week open. So that's why I'm using the 58 for my over underline, because I'll be looking and targeting a move down here to the 50.75 in the overnight low, and our key line in the sand, which is at 50.75. I don't have it sitting on 50.75 so we can see it, so I just put it on the 50% level of the 2600s. And then our daily downside ATR is down here at 45.50. So off of the high overnight of 65. What was it? Was it 65 even or 65.50? Just 65 and a quarter. Let me calculate this again. 65 and a quarter minus the 1963. Yeah, 45.75. So our daily downside target is sitting at the half gap fill. We still have that gap down there that we have not taken out. And then below that, we've got 42.50, and then December month open, full session month open is down here at the 26.40.75 with the naked VPOC down here at 40 and a quarter. Unlikely that we're going to see this today. It would be a great, I would like that, because this would give us a really nice rotation down again, and I doubt we're going to get a lot of range. People are starting to go to the sidelines for the year, and likely to see a smaller range. Now, I said that yesterday, and we ended up having a decent size range. What was the range yesterday? 71 and a quarter and 54.25. So we had a 17-point range yesterday. So those are the levels that I'm looking at. What's my hypotheses? Well, we are challenging the 63. Inventory is about 70% net positive. There probably will be some balancing here. So I am looking for a rotation down to test the 61 area. That's where we're likely to find buyers, but because of the kurtosis here at 59, we might dip a little bit lower, come down into this lower distribution. So I'm looking for an open auction in range, in value, responsive selling down into the 61 to 56 area, and then I'm looking for maybe even a probe to take out this naked close down here at 54, but I'm looking for responsive buyers to step in, rotate us up, and basically we're likely to see an inside day today with the upside target being up here in the 69 area where our VPOC was for most of the day yesterday. Remember that the value that they're trying to hold up here in this micro composite is up at the 71.50. Maybe even a push to new all-time highs, but likely close around this 71 area, which was what we were expecting yesterday. So that is hypo 1. Again, move down, find buyers, rotate us up, and just grind up into the 71, chop around in the 71 with maybe a late day failing probe, and then closing back into the 71. Hypo 2 is a open auction in range, a push up into that 71, possibly break above the prior day range and go up and take out the all-time high, but fail and come back and basically chop in between the 66 and 71 area and go sideways. Again, not expecting a lot of range today. Hypo 3, because all the time frames are still in a upward trend, will be leave the naked VPOC and the naked close, again leaving a gap, push up into the 71, chop here, break above the all-time high, get above critical mass, and push up into the 80s and possibly get a big trend day on the full session up into this weekly ATR target. Not expecting a lot more than that. And that is, again, a lower probability that that happens. And then, of course, as we do, we have to have a alternative breakdown scenario. So a open auction in range, failure to get back outside of yesterday's value, fail, come down into the 56, take that out, push down through the weekly open, come down into the 50.75, and basically go sideways down here and close as a slightly negative week. Maybe even a push down to the 45.75, but again, I wouldn't expect a lot of movement to the downside either, because they already went down to that 50.75 overnight and have found their buyers. Excuse me. So that's my hypotheses for the ES. Just taking a quick look at gold. I'm not going to do Russell. I'm going to have to reevaluate how I'm going to be handling the Russell. I just haven't had a lot of time. I've had a lot of distractions this month. My goal was to add a Russell into the analysis and the trading going into 2018. It is still my goal. It's just I haven't had the time in the last week to do much on it. So going to be doing a lot of homework during the holidays. Gold, we said that if they could get and hold above the 50 area, except this microcomposite VPOC, that we're likely to continue back up towards the 1280, 40, the composite VPOC. We said the next target above is the 67.60 area. We are trading in the 60s, so what we need to do now is we need to hold inside of the 60s, maybe even dip down to test the value area high. We are in our breakout day of the 7-day microcomposite value area high, but we need to hold this 57, 58 area really above the 60. If we can stay above the 60, I'm looking for a move to this 67.60 today. If we don't hold the 60 area, look for them to come down to test this 57 area, and if they don't hold it, the next target will be the other side of this balance below the 57 down here at the 53, and that will be your key line in the sand. Anything below that you want to be targeting and move down back to that 1250, 1249 area. We do not want to see this fail. Not likely. I think we're probably going to just chop around this 63 area for most of the day, with probably a probe up into the 67.40. But watch that over underline here at that 1260. Anything below that, target the 57 with the possibility of a move down to the 53, 54 area. So that's going to complete our pre-market session. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.